Ooh, hello. This is Chris Sharits. I am going to do a live painting. It's small. I already know what I'm going to do. So, a little upset about the whole Iran thing. So, I'm going to paint something. It's going to be a little bit dark. Maybe. I don't know. It's the way I feel today. So I use Oops paint, but I couldn't find any white. So I had to buy a bunch of ceiling paint. But 2 gallons at $29. Wasn't that bad. Okay, try to keep myself from humming. I hum all the time. Okay. I'm gonna want it about there. Doesn't really matter what kind of paint I use, whether it's Oops paint or whether it is ceiling paint, because when I'm all done, different paints have different weights, which is really nice because they sink into each other in different ways. So sometimes this is the fastest way. I can brush it on, but okay. Sometimes finger painting is just faster. Okay. Here we go, one horizon, and the second horizon. A bit more white than I wanted. Let's get rid of some. Gotta make sure it's all the way to the corner. Or all the way to the edges, because when you get down to the edges, it doesn't really spread too well. Okay, there we go. We're going to go with a little bit of black here in the middle. Ooh, nice weight on this. Set it up, make a bit of a middle horizon here. Yeah, I want to do some grays and browns. Ooh, what a nice chocolate. So this is pretty much the base of the painting. I'm going to kind of nudge it up against that black. It's very thick because I will be mixing everything on the canvas itself. And this is going to look really ugly at first. But then it'll look really, really cool. I assure you. This is just one of the styles that I do, but I'm liking it more and more. Boy, I'm definitely going to need some more black in there. I don't know, you could call it, there's a couple different techniques here being used. There's some pull with the brush. There is some splatter. Yeah, that'll work a little bit more. Make it even with the other one. With the other side. Okay. I have a tan I forgot about. Grab this tan. Put this on the ground so I remember. Pockets. Probably going to only use this as a highlight so we can get it out of the way. Oh yeah, that'll be perfect. Really heavy, chunky. Yeah. Again, making sure that it touches. Nice. Well, I guess I can tell you a little bit about myself while I'm going along in here. Again, my name is Christopher Sharits. I'm what you call an abstract expressionist. And that really just means that I paint from my mind, from my heart. I paint my emotions. I do not have the patience to do landscapes or portraits, although I really, really, really admire those that can. My oldest son, he can do that, and he is freaking marvelous at it. Okay, there we got some base. Probably need to get this light in here a little bit more. Make sure that white is touching with some thickness. Wouldn't Bob Ross just turn over his grave if he saw mine? He'd say, that's not art. Well, I wouldn't just say that art is in the eye of the beholder. I would also say that art is in the mind of the artist. I do not paint for anybody other than myself. So, yeah, that's pretty serious there. Okay, let's throw some highlights in there. A little red. It's a little bit brighter than I like, but try to get it even on both sides, but if it's not even, it doesn't matter. What happens, happens. Okay. There's one red. Okay, got a little bit of some pink here and there. And give it some yellow stripe here. Okay, what I like to do is I like to use different shades of the same color. Like I used one color red. It's a little bit of a darker red. Suppose red because of the bloodshed that already has taken place. I think while we're not in an all-out war, I think everybody's already a loser. You can't handle diplomacy. I guess part of my criticism is based on the fact that my first degree, my bachelor's degree from the State University at Buffalo, it was in political science. And just a little bit of this. And then I went to the University of Denver, the Graduate School of International Studies. And there I studied international security. Go figure. Thought I was going to be James Bond. Turns out that James Bond is a much more boring job than the movies. Start it like that. Okay. Even black has different shades, you know. Some of the hardest colors to match are actually black and white. See which lighter light. Sorry for the noise. Okay, that's I wanted to put a little bit of blue in there. A bit of brighter color. Okay. A little bit of some fancy color. Yeah, how pretty. Wish I had some gold, and I don't. Now, I'm going to give this white a little bit of definition. This flesh tone. Come on, flesh tone. There we go. Pretty color. Okay, now that I got the highlights in there, I'm going to add back my primary colors. Black is pretty pervasive, so we don't really need to do any more dark. I need a lot more white in there. And before we begin, we're going to want some more of this black in there. Okay, that should do the trick. Let's get some of these out of the way. I certainly hope that we're not led into war by some silly mistake, like maybe flying an airplane out of... Okay, that was crazy, huh? Those poor people died. That is not funny whatsoever. Not at all. Okay, so we're going to start pulling it. And if you're thinking, where did I come up with the wacky idea to do it like this? I don't know. I've never seen anybody do it this way. I feel like it's my thing, but it's probably not. There's probably people out there that do it too. Occasionally you see a painting and you go, whoa, that looks just like mine. And if it did look just like mine, then that would be the coolest compliment ever. Let's get this straighter. Now, the cool thing is, as we go along, you can add and subtract color, but generally at this point, I I don't like to mess with it very much. I like to leave the colors where they may and just go with it. Suppose I should try doing this on Facebook too. But I wanted to increase my YouTube following. Maybe I'll do both. Ooh, getting off base here. There we go. I just did, I think on Sunday, I did a painting somewhat similar to this. Except for it was a 4x5 foot painting. And to get even to this point, it took me like 4 hours. But I really liked the results. Okay. Oh, if you're wondering, since I have 2 degrees in political science and 1 in education, you're probably thinking, well, what kind of art? My father was the my father is the late experimental filmmaker Paul Sharits. And so from the cradle, he started giving me an art education, whether I wanted it or not. And that included ballet, which I did not appreciate as a young man. Later, I was in New York. I don't know, it's probably 15 or something. I was in New York City, and my dad took me to go see a ballet with Baryshnikov in it. And I was hooked. He was truly Unbelievable. You could hear the audience gasp when he jumped, when he flew. Anyway, more about my father. So, my father was extremely young when he became a professor, actually. He was 23, 24? Oh no, he was closer to 25, 24. And he became a professor of media studies at Yellow Springs, Ohio, Antioch, Kansas. And he was already making films. And already getting some really good accolades for it. And he became internationally known. And of course, he was an artist at the same time. An abstract artist, a photographer. He really got into a lot of things. But experimental film. Experimental film is kind of like taking abstraction that you would, normally expect in something like this, putting it up on the screen. There are a lot of experimental filmmakers now tend to use video because it's very hard to develop film. But back in the day, before you had these editing tools, my dad does this stuff by splicing together colored film strips that he had made out of color gels and images. And his films were absolutely amazing. I may be a little biased, but I don't think so. I think his films are amazing. Obviously, as most people go, my dad had a profound influence on me and on my artwork as I'm doing now. It's really a good dad. For me, not the greatest husband in the world, because he was also a very beautiful man and liked his students, particularly his female students, which my mom did not appreciate. So they got a divorce. My mom and we moved out to Denver, where I live now. But I visited my dad on holidays, spent a month or so, sometimes more, with him in the summertime, which was always fun. I do have brothers and sisters, but we share a mother. So I am Paul Sharits' only child. My older sister, Kathy, lives now about 10 minutes away from me. My younger sister, she lives about 20 minutes from me. My younger brother, he lives about 15 minutes from me also, which is kind of strange since we all went our separate ways. Not on purpose. Life takes you in different directions. But my brother was in the military, and I've lived in San Francisco, the Bay Area, Fremont, Union City. The last place we lived was San Lorenzo. I was working in Oakland. And then when my dad died, we moved out to Buffalo, New York. And my dad, unfortunately, committed suicide. Bit of a family tradition. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I am bipolar. And it is a family thing, really. And my dad was bipolar. My grandma was bipolar. And my grandma committed suicide when she was 50. My dad committed suicide when he was 50. So I was not in great shape when I was 50, but now I am 54. And I am totally not suicidal now. And that's a good thing because I have 3 grown sons. I have nieces and nephews whom I very much love. And I do not want to leave them. Plus, I've been married for 35 years. I don't even know what it's like not to be with my wife. We actually knew each other in the 7th grade. I had a crush on her. Unbeknownst to me, she had a crush on me. And in, I guess, 11th grade, maybe 10th grade, we started dating. And really, we never stopped. Okay. So, I am bipolar, but I am not suicidal. And that is obviously a good thing. I wish that my dad was around because I'd like to share my art with him. Because I was a business executive until I was about, I guess I was about 47, and I stopped wearing a tie. started to wear very, very messy shirts. The one I have on now. So, my dad's films are shown all over the world. Even now, I can think of at least 8 major museums that have his stuff running pretty much all the time. The Pompidou in Paris has him on permanent exhibit, which is really cool. It's on a video monitor. It's very cool to see. I took my sons to Paris and Germany to show them. Well, we went out there for an exhibition and we traveled around a bit while we were there. Spent Christmas in Paris that year. My wife and I had the privilege of going to many, many film festivals and many exhibitions around the world. It's good work if you can get it. It just doesn't suck. Okay. When this dries, the different weighted paints, especially two at the house paints, any other paints that I put on there, is they have different weights. So when they dry, they make canyons and make it very, very textured. And as this dries, more of these colors will start popping through. It's a lot of fun to see them develop. I particularly love it when they crack a little bit. Or bubble. Oh, I love it when they bubble. As long as they stay that way. Bubbled. So I think between my wife and I think we counted once. Or at least me. I think that I've been through. What else do I want to do here? I kind of don't want to mess that up. Well, kind of liking this way before I thought I would. Nice lines in there. Okay, now comes the splatter part. Then I think we'll be done. This was really, really a fast painting. going to use a white paint. Let's see how thin this stuff is. Too thick. Okay, so I'm going to use white paint that initially looks pink because it is also sealing paint. And but it's got a really nice thin consistency to it. But it goes on kind of pink. And when you see it, you kind of have to keep in mind that it will dry stark white. Goes on pink, comes out white. So just used this the other day, so it's not that bad. Okay, now and then okay. Now later you can come back and you can see how nice and white that turned out. But first, we're going to do, where did that black go? I'm going to do the same thing with black. I know it looks a little bit chaotic and crazy, but that's me. I am chaotic and crazy. I can see already what I'm going to want to do. Okay, you guys, get out of here. Okay, same thing. Okay, and then I'm going to try to clean the black off my hands here. Can't wait for that pink to turn white. That's going to be great. Oh, my hands are so freaking black. Okay. Okay, now we're going to do some of this pink/white paint. Add another layer to it, just a little bit. Cut up the black a little bit. I think that's it. I think we'll polish up the sides later. Otherwise, nope, I don't want to do that. Okay, this is my reaction again to the chaos and the almost expectation that we're going to go to war, and it's just crazy. Just crazy. So I hope that cooler heads prevail and that somebody doesn't accidentally pull a trigger, because I understand that the downing of the Ukrainian airplane may have been jetliner, 152 people killed, I can't remember. I do believe that they're trying to pin that on somebody that just had a hair trigger. And then, boom. So this will dry. It'll level out really nice. And there we go. I want to thank you very much for joining me during this live paint. Please come back and look at the painting when it is all dry. Thank you very much. Goodbye.